go pretty quickly because I covered a lot of this in the past. But because of the urgency, I feel the need to do it again. So we say 2020 is because you have perfect vision. That's the year of the Great Awakening, when the spirit of sleep was removed from us and he opened our eyes. So that's when COVID started and they gave the vaccines, right? So in 2023, Biden signed the Declaration of North America, uniting Canada, America, and Central and South America. So it's already one. What happened also in 2023? China and Russia marched with Mexico, all in the same year. Why is this important? The president of Mexico is an Ashkenazi Jew, as in Nazi. In the fall of Babylon, which is America, you see, Ashkenazis will help to destroy America. And the Medes are Iran. So this is the map. This is Babylon, Israel. This map is the old map, but remember, our people fought the Canaanites, and we got possession of the land of Canaan. So the Americas is our land. This is an old Bible, 1830. She posted a couple times because they kept on deleting her video. Let me tell you why. It tells you right here that Gog and Magog, that's a battle that we're having right now. Armageddon. Gog and Magog are what? Tartars. Of course they are, for Grand Tartaria. Grand Tartaria was erased from historical records. The Siberians in Asia. They're Siberians and Asians. In the Bible it tells you, another person has it, it tells you China. Because they're in our lands right now. And the Tartars are behind the Vatican. They created these Abrahamic religions. And they tell you that these so-called Jews started in Asia. They're, you see, an Asiatic race, and their god is Lucifer. I shared this before. So Japhet is one of Noah's sons. They're Gentiles, and Daddy used them to punish us for breaking covenant. But the 400 years are up, and they have to return our lands to us, right? So their territory is Europe and Asia. Eurasia. Like I said, that was Grand Tartaria at that time. That's why they erased that history from the books. So in the battle of Ezekiel 38, Gog and Magog, they would be invading where? Israel, the real Jerusalem, which is in America. Remember that Israel was created in 1948. You know the size of that territory is the size of Jersey. How is it possible that they have that many soldiers coming from that little place? Because this is just not Israel. Israel is what ISIS, Ra, and El. It's the people that serve Lucifer. It's many nations, many brothers, the brotherhood of the serpent. So in the reading Ezekiel 38, it tells you that they will come and make many slaves of our people. What do you think they call it? Human trafficking? They're not human trafficking. They're making them into slaves. And these videos, I will be sharing this with you because I covered this before. That all these people, they're coming over from these Asian territories are mostly men, and they're going to want women. And those are our daughters. And some of them are gay. They are sons as well. And I'm going to show this video. These are Chinese and Indians, and they're literally busing them to the border and welcome them into America. Well, and meanwhile, if any Latinos cross with them, they will be taken into camps. But these people are not. This is an invasion, guys, and you just not recognize it. As he comes into the bus, he starts to identify themselves, each and every one of them. They'll tell you India, India, and they're being welcomed. And they're being bussed into America. And also the Muslims. Why do you think they did this whole Pakistani Free Palestine movement? Why is that? To fill our borders, because they're, guess what? They're from Asia too. India, they're from Asia too. So in the reading of Joel 3, at that time when I restored the prosperity of Jehudah and Jerusalem, says Adonai, will gather the armies of the world into the valley where Jehovah judges, and punish them all for harming my people, for scattering them, my inheritance among the nations, and dividing up my lands. Aren't they doing that right now? Are they trying to take all our territories again? They divided up my people as their slaves. They traded a young lad for a prostitute and a little girl for wine enough to get drunk. And that's what they're doing to our children right now. They're taking our children and they're having their way with them. So the list of dukes of Europe, who are the dukes? These are the dukes of Europe. The dukes in the scriptures are the sons of Esau. So that's how you know who Esau is, Edom. It tells you, so it is written that Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated. We're Jacob, if you haven't figured it out by now, why they hate us so much. And Esau's the one that ends this world, but Jacob starts a new world. You see? And that's why, and they know that, because the scripture tells you, for the blessed, for he, because the meek shall inherit the earth. And they even have a Illuminati card, that tells you the meek shall inherit, because they know, as much as they try, they know they can win the battle. Daddy, they can't win. Daddy, you kidding me? Yahuwah, he's above everything. He made them. So in the reading Ezekiel 39, it tells you that Daddy is going to cause a big earthquake, and we're gonna bury them in the valley of the travelers, east of the Dead Sea. So this is in the Americas, guys. You see, he promises a great earthquake in the land of Joshua, that's in the west coast of America. To defend his people against the invading armies of Gog. That's what we have right now, right? And also in the reading of Obadiah, he says that he promises to return all the evil back upon their heads, as it says, boomerang upon their heads. And this message is being given to who? Edom, to address to Edom, Edomia, which is Europe and Asia. So in the reading of 2nd Esdras, that's when Yahushua comes out of the sea to fight for his people and gather and recover the exiles. They're of the tribes of Joshua. Those are us. We're Jacob. And he's coming for us, and that's why the urgency it is to try to get us into camps and kill us, because he knows he's coming to gather his people. And it tells you that he's going to open his mouth and breathe onto them, and he is going to destroy them with his breath. And it tells you when he comes to gather his people, that some will be sad, and some will be happy, some will be tired, and some will have their hands and feet tied. You see, hands and feet tied, and that's what's happening with our people right now. They're in shackles and they're sit tied. And it tells you right here that he will gather his people. You see, I saw him gather another great crowd of peace-loving people. These are the tribes of Joshua who were taken away into captivity. This is our people. That's why they hate us so much, because we are Yahuwah's people. The nations will unite with the single purpose of making war on my son. You see, and he will be on top of Mount Zion, that's in Utah, and the New Jerusalem will be seen by everyone. So this is why we have all these Eurasian and Hamites, because Africa's with them too. The BRICS nations, all against Daddy's people. All these nations are against who? The Latin community. Haven't you noticed? Every single one of them are against the Latin community, because everybody else they're not touching at all. It's only the Latinos and the Hispanics, right? And they gave us the name Latin because Latin comes from Rome when we fell into captivity. But we're not Latins, we're Haikos, Hebrews. And it tells you right here, when Daddy comes to gather us, he says he's going to enjoy both kingdoms, right? Jehudah and Jashua. Ephraim stands for the northern kingdom. Those are my people. And he tells you, I will promise that I will pay you 2 mercies for each of your wounds. Jehudah, you are my bow, and Ephraim, those are the Taínos and the northern kingdom, you are my arrow. Both of you will be my sword against the mighty soldiers burnished against the sons of Greece. I'm sorry, I don't think I read that exactly right, but you guys could pause it and read it. But you get the gist of it. In other words, he's going to gather both kingdoms united, one kingdom serving one king, to fight this battle against the children of Greece. And it also tells you in the reading Ezekiel 39 that we will be fighting them for 7 years. So this is where we are right now. So you guys got to wake up, because they're hunting Jacob. And why is this important? This is the reading of Psalms. It tells you Jehudah should continue to produce kings, and Ephraim grace warriors. Those are my people, the northern kingdom. You see, and Moab, which is the Asians, the Chinese, shall become my lowly servants, and Edom my slave. And I will shout to triumph over the Palestinians. So you see, they know what their future holds for them, and that's why they don't want their future, because they enslaved us for so long, and they say no, that we're going to do to them, like it tells you in the reading Ezekiel 38, we're going to do to them what we did to them in the past, because they don't want to be servants and slaves to us. So in the scriptures, it tells you, when you see all our enemies around us in Jerusalem, which is on our territory right now, run for the hills. In other words, you don't have to stop for no ICE agents. Run, hide, because Daddy's coming for us. And don't break covenant. Stay close to Him. Keep your prayers, prayer life going. Keep on praying. Don't break the covenant, because Yahuwah is coming for His people. And just like I keep on saying, pray over your children, pray everybody that you know, because He is coming. You don't have to stop for them, because this is the Rothschilds military. These are Asian people. They're in our territory. The Gentiles just trying to enslave us. And if they take your sons and daughters, you will never see them again. So wake up, Jacob. This is an invasion. Recognize an invasion when you see one.
Chinese migrants are the fastest growing group trying to cross the U.S. southern border, and some of them are getting step-by-step instructions from TikTok. Last year, U.S. Customs and Border Protection reported that 37,000 Chinese citizens were apprehended as they illegally crossed the border. That's 50 times more than just 2 years earlier. Common reasons for leaving China include its increasingly repressive political climate and sluggish economy. At least 36,000 Chinese nationals have been ordered by U.S. immigration courts to leave the country, according to a 60 Minutes review of immigration and customs enforcement data. But China often refuses to take back citizens, and the U.S. can't force China to accept them. So with the odds in their favor, there's little to discourage more Chinese migrants from attempting to illegally cross the border from Mexico. Over 4 days, 60 Minutes witnessed nearly 600 migrants pass through a single 4-foot gap at the end of a border fence 60 miles east of San Diego. They all passed through the gap and onto U.S. soil unchecked. But how did many Chinese migrants find out about the hole? Videos on TikTok. The videos feature step-by-step instructions for hiring smugglers and directions to the border gap. Once through the hole, the migrants walked about half a mile down a dusty road and waited in line for U.S. Border Patrol to arrive so they could surrender. For years, millions of Chinese entered the U.S. with a visa that allowed them to visit, work, or study. But tensions between the two countries have made these visas more difficult to acquire. In 2016, the U.S. granted 2.2 million temporary visas to Chinese nationals versus just 160,000 in 2022. Now, many are turning to the U.S. southern border, where they cross illegally and then attempt to make asylum claims, which can take years to be settled. Watch the full 60 Minutes story on YouTube.
India, thank you, man.
Thank you. You're welcome, my friend.
India.
Stop. My friend. My friend. Left.
Left.
Come on, come on.
Hey, India, thank you, sir. India, bro, India. India. This number.
You're welcome, my friend.
India.
You're welcome, my friend. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
India. Bye. India. Bye.
Goodbye, my friend.
India.
Woo!
India, Punjab. India. Haryana. Jai Haryana. Punjab. Jai Sri Ram. India, Haryana. Brazil.
Brasileño. Goodbye.
India, Punjab.
Woo!
Punjabi.
Goodbye, my friends. Goodbye.
Good.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, my friend. Goodbye.
Okay, bro.
Bye. Goodbye, bro. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Goodbye, my friend. Brazil. All right.
Gracias.
You're welcome.
Thanks, bro.
Goodbye.
Bye, bro. Thank you so much, bro.
Carolina del Norte. ¿Dónde vienes?
Ecuador.
¿A dónde vas?
New Jersey.
Where are you from? Synagogue? Where are you going? New York? Where are you from? You're going to New York? Thank you. You?
New York.
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 New York? You? Thank you. You? Thank you. You? New York? Where are you going?
New York.
Thank you. Where are you going? Thank you. ¿Dónde vienes?
Ecuador.
¿A dónde vas?
A Chicago.
¿Dónde vienes?
Ecuador.
¿A dónde vas?
Chicago.
¿Dónde vienes?
Colombia.
¿A dónde vas?
Atlanta.
¿Dónde vienes?
Colombia.
¿A dónde vas? Where are you from? Where? Where you going? Chicago? New York? Where? Where?
What?
Where you going?
No. Bari. Ohio.
Ohio. Thank you. Where you from?
Ohio.
Thank you. You?
Kansas.
Kansas. You?
From Syria.
From Syria. You're from Syria too?
All over.
Okay. Okay. Where you going?
Arkansas.
Kansas. You?
Chicago.
Chicago.
Columbus.
Columbus.
Texas.
Texas.
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
New York.
New York.
New York.
New York.
Texas.
Texas.
New York.
New York.
California.
Chicago.
California. Chicago. You?
Michigan.
Michigan. You?
New York.
New York. You?
New York.
New York. You?
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis. You?
New York.
New York. Thank you. Where you from?
Colombia.
Colombia. ¿Dónde vas?
Orlando.
A Orlando. ¿Y tú dónde vienes?
Ecuador.
¿Dónde vas?
Nueva York.
Gracias. ¿Tú?
Panamá.
¿A dónde vas?
Arizona.
If you are smart enough, you will know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're gonna know who I am. Very easy.
Wow, very easy. The entitlement.
No, believe me, I'm much better than that.
The entitlement, guys. Wow.
You will see.
The United States government is human trafficking people. There's a specific ICE detention facility in San Benito, Texas, where children that were raped and got pregnant, gave birth to the child, are then taken to and moved around to different detention centers in the United States without any trace of them via Delta Airlines, and the entire United States population isn't up in arms about this. It's almost like the inception of the United States.
Non-American perspective, I want to talk to you guys about Texas right now because I'm in New Orleans. I'm about to drive through Texas next week for my first time for work, for tattooing, so on and so forth, on my way to Colorado. And why I want to talk about it is because there are ICE detention centers that are strategically placed in Texas near border walls that make it so that that's where they're sending the women, the underage girls that are raped and impregnated by ICE agents. And I'm saying this because ultimately, Texas itself, so they just recently changed these weed laws and the flock cameras, the way that they hunt people that get pregnant and then just like have to get a fucking abortion. I have friends in this country that don't go back, that I've met in other states, that don't go back and see their family in Texas because of what I had just mentioned, right? And I'm saying this because they just changed the weed laws that if you get caught with 4 grams of weed, planted or not, they will put you in a cell for 20 fucking years. And I'm saying this because this is where the ICE detention facilities are. It's not just that, but they'll put these women, these girls, underage girls, children, into these camps, and then they send them around where they lose the paperwork. They traffic them from facility to facility. And I'm saying there's so many influencers that are talking about this shit right now. And I'm saying this because, well, I'm about to be there next week for my first time. Obviously, I look like this. I mean, cops think I'm sexy, so they just always want to search my shit. If they plant it or not, I'm going to take the Raven call as a positive sign. But I'm just saying this because this is political terrorism. All right. And I'm saying this because it's like the silent violence that is the American culture is actually just one of these things that it's not all bad. But if we don't talk about and if we don't isolate and acknowledge the devil in the room, well, we're just going to continue having all of this, right? So I'm just saying this because for those that are not in the region, now you know a little bit more about what the locals process this like.
So officially, Colombia waives visa right for Israelis and they can enter Colombia without any visa. So officially, Colombia by next month will be a second occupied Palestine. So if you're a Colombian, good luck to you. Lock your doors, watch your children, do not give anybody shelter or food, anything. Trust me, these motherflowers are not to be trusted. And the far-right Colombian government, not only they're not even worried about the earthquakes and the people who are in need. They're busy recognizing Israel, opening embassy for Israel, and licking Israelis' toes and their feet and nails, and cleaning their bye. So officially.
Did Israeli nationals really run a sex trafficking ring with underage girls in Colombia? The answer, of course, is yes. In 2018, Colombian authorities dismantled a network that marketed tourism packages from Israel, specifically to Israeli businessmen and recently discharged IDF soldiers. The packages weren't about beaches or restaurants. They were about private parties on yachts and hotels, complete with drugs, alcohol, and young girls forced into sex. Prosecutors said that more than 250 young girls, many from Venezuela and poor Colombian neighborhoods, were pulled in. They were paid almost nothing and moved between the properties the network controlled. One of the key figures, Asid Ben Mash, had already been deported from Colombia after running a similar operation out of a hotel. When they were finally caught, charges included trafficking of minors, sexual exploitation, drug trafficking, money laundering, and even murder. When the story broke, it barely registered in most Western outlets. The network had been selling access to underage girls for years to a steady stream of Israeli clients who knew exactly what they were buying, and they traveled for the express purpose to exploit the local children.
Here in the Quichua community of Sawata, between Puyu and Tina in Ecuador, and it's one of 3 communities that has been invaded by illegal mines, and the stories that we've heard today are some of the worst acts of violence that I have ever heard. It's a community of approximately 300 families, so guessing between 600 and 800 people, and it first was a Canadian-owned mine, and it's changed hands several times over the years, and now it is on paper owned by an Ecuador company. However, there are Chinese investors as well. Has been attempting to come in and evict this community from their own ancestral lands. The municipality nearby granted land title to individual buyers without even considering the Quichua here, who have called this land home for generations. Now, the company has tried to forcefully come in and evict them. I met community members today that experienced violence, and in the past couple of weeks, 3 young men, indigenous men, that were brought in from outside the community, 2 Shuar men and 1 Quichua man, were murdered for complaining about not being paid by the company, and their bodies were found dumped not too far away from here, and the police are investigating their deaths. There are, local leadership here tells me that the mine is backed by armed groups, which AKA are cartel members. All of the mining activity is illegal. It's being fronted by what the company calls agroforestry, and partnering with other indigenous tribes such as the Warani and the Shuar, therefore doing that old divide and conquer tactic of pitting indigenous communities against each other. This is a wild, wild story. I've come to document it here today with my colleague Julian DeForney. I will have the story for you just as soon as I can, but I'm telling you people, it's a world, a wild, wild west world. There is zero accountability here. Imagine if it was you and your family. Colonialism has never ended. It continues. This is not a movie. We see things like this happening in Hollywood, in blockbuster movies such as Avatar, where indigenous communities are evicted to make way for gold mining and mining further minerals, and the violence that goes with this and with it. And we cry and we shout about the injustice. But when you see it and when it's happening in real life, where the hell is everybody? That's what I'd like to know.
Amigos, ya no sé por dónde publicar esto, pero se necesita saber urgente.
Algo malo están tramando contra Argentina. Milei viene a ser el último gobierno, no va a ser un gobierno más. Quieren matarnos a todos a cada 2 años. Quieren dar nuestra tierra y ya le están dando a los israelíes. Por favor, hagan viral esto. Gracias, les agradezco de corazón. ¡Viva la patria!
I'm Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican.
Really?
Well, you're in Puerto Rico, aren't you?
What percentage Puerto Rican are you?
I'm 100% Puerto Rican. I live in Puerto Rico.
Not, but like ethnicity.
Well, what does that mean? My ancestors weren't from Puerto Rico. I moved here 9 years ago, but I've lived here for the last 9 years of my life. My kids are growing up in Puerto Rico, so we're Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican.
Really?
Well,
This girl isn't European, and neither is she. They're Pakistani. They're called the Kalash, and they live in 3 mountain valleys in northern Pakistan. Scientists found real ancient European DNA in their bloodline, and they might be the oldest surviving pocket of ancient Eurasians on Earth. The crazy part is, there were over 100,000 of them in 1896. Now they are only around 5,000. Half have converted under pressure, and their language is critically endangered. Send this to someone who didn't know, and make sure you drop that follow.
I'm gonna have to be really careful about how I go about this because the last video I made about this, it got taken down, so I'm gonna be really careful about what I say. This is an encyclopedia of religious knowledge from the 1830s, and let me show you guys what it says about Gog and Magog. If you don't know, go read Revelation 20 and then come back. I'm not gonna say anything other than just, if you know, you know. Alright, so here we are. Gog and Magog from the 1830s. Symbolical names of the heathen nations of northern Asia, more particularly the Tartars and Mongolians, which the Arabic and other Oriental writers from Yajuj and Majuj. They occur in Ezekiel 38 and 39 and Revelation 20. So I can't say too much because the last time I did, they got a little mad. But if you know, you know. If you know, you know.